Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. AB here along with Jack. We are the Stream Catchers. Jack, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing real good. How about you?
Feeling good, feeling great. I have to say, this is the most excited I've been to record this podcast since we started it.
I think that mine was probably last week, but this was a return to last week. This was great. This was such a fun episode.
I didn't think that they would top last week, and this week made last week look pretty tame. So this episode was just it's bonkers. It was outrageous.
Yeah,
It was just incredible. It was amazing.
yeah.
So let's just not waste any time. Let's jump into it. I'll do quick hits and I'll toss it to you.
Sounds good.
On Tatooine, Cobb Vanth, Marshal of Mos Pelgo, confronts and shoots Pike Spice Runners. Djarin, the Mandalorian, arrives on an unnamed planet to visit Grogu and is greeted by R2-D2. As Mando rests beside a new Jedi temple, Luke Skywalker trains Grogu to become one with the Force. Mando finds Ahsoka Tano, who leads him to Grogu's location. Since Grogu's bond with Mando may hinder his training, Ahsoka elects to hand the armorer's gift to Grogu herself, while Mando returns to Tatooine. At Boba's palace, his crew admits they need more numbers in case of an all-out war against the Pike Syndicate. Din Djarin goes to Mos Pelgo, now named Freetown, to enlist Cobb Vanth and his people. Promising to help, Vanth sees Mando off before noticing a figure off in the distance.
Your smile's getting wider and wider.
As this figure gets closer, we see that it is Cad Bane, bounty hunter and associate of the Pikes. After a standoff, Bane shoots both Vanth and his deputy, and we see two Pikes bomb the cantina in Mos Espa. Back in the temple, Luke shows Grogu both the gift of a beskar chain armor as well as Yoda's lightsaber. He asks Grogu to choose between either Mando's gift and to stop his training, or Yoda's lightsaber and to be trained as a Jedi. Jack, what did you think of the episode?
This episode was so exciting. I started watching it, so I usually do the first watch while I'm at work, and I was just smiling like an idiot the whole time, just trying not to freak out in my own little corner of the room. Man, the hits just keep coming. Like we said last week, we weren't sure. Like you thought that there would be a Grogu appearance. You thought that because Mando said that he wanted to meet a little friend, you know, and so we got that and so much more, way more. I didn't think they'd do Luke again, and they did so much more Luke.
Yeah. So I didn't think that they would have Grogu, but you kind of convinced me that they wouldn't, and then they obviously very much did. Yeah, I mean, if you can't tell, I loved this episode, up and down, left to right, front to back. Seeing Cobb Vanth come back was great. Seeing R2 was fun. Luke was welcoming. Grogu was exciting. When they showed Ahsoka, that's when my arms went up in triumphant cheer because I was not expecting her at all. I didn't think that her return really made sense for this, but they did it in a way where it did. And then when it was Cad Bane, I swear to you, right when they had those wind chimes, I was like, it's got to be Cad Bane. And then they cut to the wide shot in the background, and you see the cowboy hat, and I'm like, yes, it's Cad Bane.
Yeah.
And my jaw was dropped, and as it gets closer,
too.
it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I was like, oh my God, this episode is insane. And they did such a good job with Cad Bane.
They did.
Oh
they
my
really
God.
did. Do you want to just go ahead and talk about Cad Bane for a little bit?
Let's,
it's
yeah, we might
definitely
as well.
On both of our minds. How do you think they did with Cad Bane? You like the look of him?
Knocked it out of the park. Out of the park, absolutely. I mean, if you watch Clone Wars and Bad Batch, he looks a little bit skinnier there than he does in the live action. I think it'd be really difficult to replicate that. Yeah. Not impossible, but
it's more of an art style than a character, characterization.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I really loved the way he looked. It was directly out of the show.
Mhm.
They got the same voice actor. They did the similar.
Oh, it is the same voice actor. I was wondering about that because it's spot on. Like
They pulled
I
a
that's
they
awesome.
they pulled a Darth Vader. So it's a person. It's like a stunt actor as him physically, and then the
Hmm.
actual voice actor is voicing him.
I
So
dig it.
yeah, didn't miss a step. And
Yeah.
he is, if not, he's much scarier live action than he is in the shows.
In the shows, did he have the pointed teeth? I don't remember that.
I mean, it doesn't really jump out to me, but
Yeah.
I'm sure he did.
Of all of the outlandish details about Cad Bane's appearance, pointy teeth is kind of low on the list.
Yeah, I mean, when you think he's got these weird
He's got
tubes
tubes.
like Bane, and yeah, he's got
He's
big
got the
red eyes,
Voldemort
blue skin.
nose.
Yeah, he's an obscure looking person. I guess we should probably also say, if you haven't watched Clone Wars, that's really where Cad Bane was introduced to us. He's a bounty
For sure.
hunter. He used to actually know Jango Fett, and they never actually got to show this in the show, but he was intended to take on Boba Fett as his sort of, I guess not, I guess apprentice, so to speak. And
Hmm.
it was also supposed to get to a point where they'd have a standoff, and Boba would presumably kill Cad Bane. Obviously, that didn't happen. Cad Bane is alive and well. He
Hmm.
was the baddest bounty
It still
hunter.
could happen.
It still could.
It
It
could
very much still
happen
could.
next week.
I hope it doesn't. He's
Me
the
too.
baddest bounty hunter in the galaxy. He's worked for the Separatists. He's worked for the Hutts. Darth Sidious even hired him. He is a formidable foe for the Jedi. So, if you're a Clone Wars fan, it is a big deal that he is here.
Yeah, and they did a good job. I think is an important thing to say about it is because we've been talking about a live action Cad Bane for a while now. Live action Cad Bane, live action. I mean, we talked about Ahsoka a lot before we saw live action Ahsoka. You know, I'm still talking about live action Hondo Onaka. I think they're doing a great job adapting these characters into live action.
Yeah, and say what you want about Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch, mostly good, some not so good, but they have all introduced some really interesting characters to the Star Wars universe. Cad Bane is one of the most interesting, and so yeah, like you said, these live action adaptations that we've seen, and I know for a fact, I don't want to say anything to you right now because you haven't finished Rebels, but I know for a fact more are coming, and I couldn't be happier with what they did. It was so well done, especially cinematography, just the way that he was off in the distance, and if you know who he is, you could tell who he is. You know that that's Cad Bane. They didn't even have to say his name. He just
Right. Oh, they didn't. That's true. They never
no,
did say his name.
never name dropped him. But we know that's all you need to know is he's bad as they come, and highlighted the episode for me, to be honest. I didn't think
Yeah.
that they would top Ahsoka, but that was just mind
Yeah.
blowing.
Honestly, for me, like I mean, my jaw dropped as soon as I saw Cad Bane. I was thrilled to see Ahsoka. I was incredibly surprised to see as much Luke as we saw. But I think that of the appearances, I'm most impressed with Cobb Vanth. I think that I mean that was the one that I, I actually forgot that he was in the show. I forgot that he was in the Mandalorian season 2, and I paused it. And I was like, "Is this a new character? Is this an old character?" I googled Cobb Vanth. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's total. That's him. That's the guy. He had Boba Fett's armor." And then I went back and actually rewatched that episode today.
That's a great episode too. That was a really fun way to start Mando season 2. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I was really happy to see him come back too. That was a fun. That was the first thing you see is Cobb Vanth confronting those Pikes, the Pike
Mm-hmm.
Syndicate.
Yeah, with
And
that
at
opening,
first,
that was.
it did take
Go
me a
ahead.
second to recognize who it was too. I was like, who is that? Like, oh, that's right, that's
Yeah,
Cobb Vanth. And
yeah.
so we saw him have this very old Western-esque standoff with Cad. Cad wins,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think Cobb Vanth is dead.
No, 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 for sure. They would have made a much bigger deal about it, and I mean, it looked like everybody kind of rushed to his aid real quick. I think they're going to find a back to tank for him, and he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, his deputy's dead though. He's for sure. He's gone.
His deputy is screwed. His deputy got lit up.
Should have listened. You
Yeah.
want
Oh
to know
my
what?
God. Yeah.
I'm not upset he's dead, to be honest with you, because like, he was one of those like over eager, like too like too much going on. I don't know. He was like
Yeah.
he was on Din's case, and he didn't listen to Bob Vanth the second time around. It was like, dude, you need to chill. You're the deputy. Do as you're told. And you got shot. So let that be a lesson to all you deputies out there. Just,
Yeah, I think that this awakens some anger in the barkeep too. I think that
yeah.
he's going to be involved in Boba's mission to deal with the Pikes now.
Yeah, so it seemed that he was going to try to, he being Cobb Vanth, he was going to try to convince some of the town folk to join in. I bet that a lot of them would have said no, but this is the perfect way to get as many foot soldiers for Boba and his crew as
Right.
possible. So it really well done. It made me so much more excited for this Pike War that we have coming up here in the next episode. This did more for Boba's story than Boba did. And Boba, yet again, was basically a cameo in his own show.
Yeah, that's true. And honestly, when I was watching that opening scene, I was like, "Where the hell is Cobb Vanth's show?" I would much rather watch that. Like this scene is so good. Like this scene, like Cobb Vanth in this opening scene is so much more entertaining than Boba's been the entire show. How
It's
disappointing is that?
and that's what I kind of want to pivot into here is that, when the episode ended, I was just on a high of all
Yeah.
highs. And then as that came down a bit, I had to sort of look at this in a bit of a critical eye. And as great as this episode was, as fun as it was, it didn't really fix many of my critiques of the show so far. The
Mhm.
show is titled The Book of Boba Fett. They spent 4 episodes trying to get us to care about him. They didn't. Um, I feel pretty good going into chapter 7 with this Pike War, but it really feels like it's a missed opportunity for those first 4 episodes to do the story a bit differently. And
Mhm.
maybe the show could have just been Mandalorian season 3, like I said last week, or you could have even just called it a Star Wars story or something else, and spent less time with Boba and more time with these more interesting characters. It's a little disappointing that it took us this long to get here, but I will say I'm glad we're here now.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, do you think this is a thought that I had last week after we recorded actually, and I wrote it down? Do you think that they're setting Boba Fett up to have a hero's end? Do you think that they're going to kill off Boba Fett at the end of the season? They haven't announced a second season, as far as I know. I don't know
I don't.
if he needs to be in any more properties moving forward.
I don't think they'll kill him. I don't think that the fact that they haven't announced season 2 really means much because they didn't announce Bad Batch season 2 until after the fact. Low key season 2. A lot of times they won't do that. They won't do that before the season's over with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't think they'll kill him. I think that it'll be a situation where now you have him established on Tatooine and his faction of people are here. And if you need to come back here, you can, and it's a very easy and accessible. I don't see a reason for them to kill him. I don't know what that would really accomplish. Um,
I do kind of like thinking of Boba Fett as the Tatooine guy. Like after everything's said and done, and he defeats the Pikes and he
yeah.
has his territory. I kind of like the idea of anytime you need to go to Tatooine, it's for Boba Fett.
Sure, absolutely. And I also don't really think I look at him as a hero either.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think we got to break it down to what he is and what he's trying to do. He's trying to run a crime underground thing.
That's
Like,
true.
he's
That's true.
trying to his whole motivation for this was he was tired of being hired by crime lords. He felt like he
Hmm.
should be the one doing the hiring. So it's for all
He's
of
just doing it in such a white knight way,
yeah.
that I'm kind of surprised about, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, for all that is going on with the Pikes, when you really break it down, what are they doing? They're running spice through Tatooine. Why? Because there really isn't anybody there governing the planet to stop them from doing it. So it's easy to do. They make money, but it doesn't seem like they're actually hurting anybody. And it doesn't seem like it's
I
affecting
mean,
anything.
they shoot first, ask questions later with the Tuscans. I mean,
That's
that's
a
the
different
only.
thing, though. That's a hover train out in the desert. The Tusken Raiders are obviously an aggressive tribe. Who knows what they did to elicit that
I guess
response?
that's true. I guess that's true.
You know, that's not,
Yeah.
we shouldn't make the Tusken Raiders out to be the Teletubbies of the Star Wars universe. They're not Barney and
Man,
friends.
I was. This is off topic, but I was watching the first episode with Cobb Vanth, which was season 2, episode 1 of Mandalorian. I forgot completely that Mando hung out with a bunch of the Tuscans and even speaks Tuscan.
That's true. That's
I did
true.
not. I did not remember that at all. That totally took me by surprise. I need to watch that season again.
I need to watch the whole thing. Yeah, because I didn't even, I
Yeah.
forgot completely that Fennec was introduced in episode 5 of season 1. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think Mando definitely warrants a second watch for sure, especially before season 3 comes out next year. But
Hmm.
let's pivot real quick, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
to
Absolutely.
what they spent the bulk of the episode on, and that is
Okay.
Luke and Grogu. What do you make of that?
Well, I do. I really like that. I really like listening to Luke teach Grogu about Yoda. I think it's really heartwarming.
Yeah,
I like that. I love that Luke kept his lightsaber. I had no idea that Luke had Yoda's lightsaber. That's so cool. Um, what do you? Do you want to jump right into the choice that he needs to make, or do you want to talk a little bit about his training first?
I was talking about the training a little bit because yeah, we talked about it. We hit on it a little bit earlier that we didn't expect this to be in the episode. If you're looking at this from a critical standpoint, this is very out of place with the rest of the show that we've seen, the first 4 episodes at least. But from a pure fan standpoint, this was so entertaining. And just watching Grogu try to figure things out and see him finally learn how to jump is a lot of fun. Seeing him deal with that droid that shoots at him was a lot of fun. Watching him blow it up and then kind of look at it and going, ah, like that was hilarious.
Uh-huh.
That was some of the most fun that I've had watching the show so far. And I should also point this out regarding Luke. It still wasn't perfect, but he looked a lot better this go around than he
I
did
agree.
at the end of season 2, right? So if they're able to continue to perfect that technology, not only could we potentially see more Luke down the road, I'm hoping that maybe they can use that for other characters. Like I've been wanting a Qui-Gon spinoff, a Count Dooku spinoff. We've talked about Mace Windu on here quite a bit. The sky's
Yeah,
the limit with
true.
these characters and prequels type stuff with that sort of technology. So
Yeah, they definitely tightened up like the facial features of Luke. He was a lot less robotic in this episode.
yeah,
You definitely still can tell, but man, the work that they're doing is great.
yeah,
And honestly, if I'm not looking for it, if I allow myself to just like be in the moment and watch the show, and just like stop being hyper analytical about it, he blends in. The
yeah,
the fake Luke blends in really well, and I see they're still crediting Mark Hamill. Is he still doing the voice part,
yeah. It's
or is
all
he
still
doing
him.
is he doing mocap? I don't even know how they're doing. I actually don't know how they're doing Luke now.
I don't know the specifics on the graphics and all that, but he is for sure still there and doing it and part of it.
Yeah,
So I
that's
don't know if
great.
he's just out there, yeah, mocapping and they're just editing it or what it is. I'm not
Hmm.
sure, but yeah, I agree with you for sure. I don't really when I watched it the first go around, I was like, this looks great, and then when I was watching with a closer eye, I was like, yeah, I can see the lips are kind of off here and stuff like
Hmm.
that. But for the most part, it was awesome. I will
Yeah, no
also
huge glaring issues like where the eyes not locking onto stuff.
that would
Like there
be
there were some definite mistakes in the first go around, but I'm glad that they took the leap. I think that it's really paid off for them.
yeah. It almost seemed like it was a bit of a rushed thing in
Yeah,
Mando season 2, but.
I would agree.
One other one of my favorite parts of the episode, and I hope we get more of it, was seeing Luke and Ahsoka together.
That was cool. Yeah, that's an interesting dynamic there. Your your father's best friend from long ago.
Well, yeah, she said it best. You're
It's
so much like your father. He kind of gave her a little bit of a look, like I don't know how to take that. And
yeah,
but you know, at this point they have met. I really hope when we get to Ahsoka's show that we see the meeting, because I feel like Star Wars fans deserve that. We deserve seeing Ahsoka recognize Anakin's son for the first time and be like, "Oh my god."
yeah. Wow, I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah, that is a those will be some lines of dialogue I'm interested in hearing.
Yes, for those that are not privy to Clone Wars and all that, Ahsoka was Anakin's Padawan. So lots to break down there. And yeah, I
She
think
was almost the main character of Clone Wars in a way, because like she was introduced for the show. You know, she played a very important role, being close to Anakin and Obi-Wan, who are, you know, the leading characters of the Clone Wars. And then you know, even into that last story arc at the very end, like it's all about her.
yeah, I guess if you could say that there was a character that the show focused the most on, you could probably say Ahsoka. They put a lot on Anakin, but I think the show was more about. I think the Clone Wars was the star of Clone Wars
Right,
because you
it's an
dive so
anthology.
yeah, you dive so much into not just the Jedi, but you see a lot of Cad Bane and characters like that, and you see a lot of Mandalorian stuff, and Darth Maul comes back. And seriously,
Hmm.
folks, if you have not watched Clone Wars, some episodes can be a bit of a chore, not gonna lie, but most of it is really really good. You get to see
Hmm.
great characters like Cad Bane and Ahsoka in there, and watch their real development take place.
It adds a lot to the world building as a whole too.
I think that it made me appreciate Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith more than I did prior, and I do
Yep,
enjoy both of those movies. So it's
I agree.
does a great job connecting the dots between the two movies, and yeah, especially when you get to season 7, they're right at the very beginning of Revenge of the Sith, where stuff is going on while that movie is happening. So it's very well done,
Yeah.
very well done. Um, let's
Let me use that to pivot. Let's talk about Order 66, because we got to see a an awakened memory in Grogu, who was around during the
well,
purge.
let's stick with Luke because you wanted to talk about the choice.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, let's stick with Luke real quick. But I do want to talk about that in a second. But what do you make of the choice? What do you think he's going to choose?
Well, I'm going to present an option three, and I don't know how I didn't make this connection earlier, but why would Grogu not be destined to wield the dark saber? Because he
Mm,
is both Mandalorian and Jedi. I don't know the
I,
steps of how he'll get there, but doesn't it seem like it makes sense that he will end up with it?
he would have to defeat Din for that.
Not necessarily. I mean, he is a, you know, creature with a huge lifespan. Like they, you know, a lifetime for Din is only going to be a short time for Grogu. He might inherit the dark saber in a completely different way and change things.
Well, no, because you have to win the saber from somebody. So
Oh, I know. I'm just saying. Like
I don't see
I don't
it.
know.
I don't see it.
No.
I
Okay.
think he chooses the chain armor, and I think
Okay.
we'll see him pop up at some point in chapter 7. I think Din is gonna end up with the dark saber for sure. I really do. I think I've seen people talk about this, and I don't know if this is the case or not, but a lot of people are speculating that he may be force sensitive.
Mando.
Yeah.
Um, have you looked into that fan theory, or have you been down that rabbit hole?
A lot of people say, well, so what do we know about what do we know about him? He was a foundling. He was not born a Mandalorian. So we don't really know anything about his backstory prior to him being brought into that culture. We know that he has this bond with Grogu that no one else seems to have.
Hmm.
We've seen him in combat do things that most Mandalorians can't really do. He survives things that most people can't really survive. And I think that there's a strong argument where you can say that it's more to do with external factors outside of he's just a very well trained Mandalorian. Now, he very much could just be a very well trained Mandalorian, and they needed him to survive those things because it moved the story along and it solidified him as a legit badass. And I think another knock against it is perhaps Luke and Ahsoka would have sensed that in him, but who's to say that they didn't and didn't just didn't say anything because of how old he was.
Too old to begin the training.
I don't know if I believe that he is or not, but to
it's
stick with what
definitely
you
a fun
say,
theory to play around with, though.
yeah, to stick with what you said, if he is force sensitive, then he does have ties to both Mandalorian and Jedi backgrounds. Right. So I think that makes more sense than Grogu getting it. I just can't imagine Grogu holding that massive lightsaber.
Well, yeah, I guess I hadn't thought about that.
I mean, if you saw Luke with Yoda's, like it looked like a toy. It looked like when you
the
ones you get at Walmart.
Yeah. Like, it is much smaller. I don't know. I was just connecting the dots, and I had just a epiphany. I thought I'd bring that up, that he was both. So I don't know.
I think it's a fair theory. I mean, I could be 100% wrong, and this time next year I've got my foot in my mouth.
Hey, if I think of more evidence, I will present it, because I am a fan of that theory, and I think I'm going to keep it in my brain.
Do it, yeah. I mean, the last time he made a Star Wars theory, it was that Mace Windu was the cloaked figure, and it turned out to be Captain Rex. But I hope this one is different.
But I'm not. I'm not letting it die, man. He's out there. He's somewhere.
That's all right. It would be wild if that came to pass, because I mean, they'd have to fast forward a lot if he does inherit it somehow, considering that. Yeah. Din looks to be what, 30?
Yeah, like
35?
I said, like I don't know. Yeah, like I don't know the details of how this will work, but I'll workshop it.
I like it. All right. Well, let's go back to that you wanted to talk about Order 66.
Yes.
What do you got?
Okay, so we see some clones killing Jedi. Obviously, Order 66 is happening. Grogu's scared. End scene. The clones are rushing to Grogu. End scene. Why wouldn't the clones be programmed to kill Grogu?
We don't know what happens next is the thing. Like maybe they tried and somebody stopped them.
Maybe he stopped them. Maybe he stopped them with the Force.
Could be, or maybe
defend himself.
Could be, or who knows. I do think there's something to that. I don't think the clones were just like, all right, bye. I think that.
Yeah.
I think there's something there, and I think we will find out, if not next week, in Mando season 3. But yeah, I think
really cool if Yoda saved him, but timeline-wise, that can't happen because Yoda's not at the Jedi Temple.
He's on Kashyyyk at that point.
Yeah.
Tamara Morrison voiced the clones in that scene, by the way.
Oh, cool! I don't even think I registered that they had lines of dialogue. Did they?
It was.
Did they just grunt or whatever? Okay.
It was like there is, or something like that, something very minor, nothing specific or significant. But gotcha. Yeah, Tamara, he so that's one of the cool things about having him around is he can do Boba, he can do clones, he can be Rex, who's a clone.
I'm really excited for him to be a live action clone again. It's gonna be great.
I agree. So yeah, the Order 66 scene was fun. I'm glad you brought it up, because I do think that we will see what happens there. I do think that there's more to it. I think we've seen it in the past where visions and memories are incomplete and they have to be completed somehow or some way. And
yeah,
I kind of would link this, or compare it rather, to that episode with Fennec Shan where she's down and you see 2 feet walk up to her, and it turns out years later that was Boba. It was Boba Fett all along, but but we'll find out much later.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know what to pivot to next. What else you got in your notes, big guy?
I want to talk about Ahsoka.
Okay, let's do it.
So I'm so excited to have her back, because I think she's obviously, if you can't tell, one of my favorite Star Wars characters in the whole franchise. And we know her show is coming up. I definitely mentioned that I want to see if Luke pops up there. But I didn't expect to see her here. You think we may see her next week?
No, I don't think we'll see any Jedi next week. I think a Jedi would make this fight too unfair.
Fair.
That's really my only reason.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if.
Well, let's say she's not. Let's say she's not
Okay.
there. We do know that we have Kenobi this
Hmm.
summer, I would say, and her show. Um, Maybe probably won't see her in Kenobi since she has her own show, and I don't know if it would make sense. But um, gosh, I really wish you had finished Rebels because I want to talk about her.
I'm sorry, man. I I promise. I promise I will work on it.
You have to before her show comes out.
I will.
Otherwise,
I
it will
will.
be spoiled for you in the show.
Does that have a
So,
release date yet?
sometime next year.
Okay.
All right. Well, there's not much to talk about with Ahsoka then, because I think we kind of touched on everything already. So,
Sorry to kill
um,
your Ahsoka buzz.
uh, I was so excited to see her too.
Yeah.
Um,
All of the reappearances of characters were so good in this episode. I feel like it was like Danny Tanner walking into the set of Full House and the studio audience clapping. It's like, he's here too. He's in the seat. Ah.
they're standing there way too long, waiting for the applause to stop.
Yeah, like a little wave.
Yeah, just
Yeah, Luke Skywalker.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just a blast. Every little moment from I keep wanting to call him Bob Vance from The Office. Cobb
Bob,
Vanth. Have you seen The
Bob Vance
Office?
refrigeration.
Yes.
Yes.
Cobb Vanth
That's so
refrigeration.
funny.
From Cobb Vanth to R2 was cool. More of
Mhm.
Luke, more of Grogu, Ahsoka, Yoda's lightsaber, Cad freaking Bane. Like there's so many awesome cameos, and man, it was great. And you know, I guess as we sort of wind this down, if we want to make any final predictions for next week, you seemingly had a few. You thought maybe Boba may die. Do you have any other thoughts and ideas of what we might see next week on our season finale?
Um, I almost want to see some. I want to see some conflict between some of the some of the characters in Boba's army. I want to see like a Mando versus Chrysanthemum, or like a Boba Fett versus Cobb Vanth or something. So I want two more good guys to butt heads in this next one before we really get going. That would be, I think that's my big prediction for next week.
Do you think we have time for that? I mean, I feel like that would have had to
I
be
do,
like
yeah.
this week.
I think that'd be an Act One problem to be resolved. Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, I mean, for me, I feel like we never got anything with Boba and the Pikes directly, and
Hmm.
this week feels like would have been the perfect week to do that. You know, we got to see them retaliate a bit. Cad Bane coming in and shooting Cobb Vanth and his deputy. That's a big retaliation. Seeing them blow up the cantina was a big retaliation. But we still haven't seen Boba and someone butt
Well, and I think
heads.
that's the problem, right? Is we don't have any named Pike characters. We don't know a leader of the Pikes. We don't know anything about their operation other than they run spice. Like, we know very, very little about the Pikes, and I think that has become a problem going into the last episode with the antagonist of this show being the Pikes. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I agree, and I think that we will see a leader be revealed next week. I do think that we will see something like that, but it just feels like a missed opportunity again. We spent so much time in the past, and while it was good, like like they could have very easily had the Pikes be the ones to kill the Tusken Raiders and not the Tin Can Striders, which I think
And
it's
that would have
possible that
been way more tension and better.
I 100%, and I think that it is possible that we do get one more flashback where it is revealed that the Pikes did in fact kill the Tusken Raiders and they framed the Tin Can Striders.
That'd be all right. I'd be okay with that.
Right.
I don't know
I
why
th-
they would. I don't think that the Tuscans would be big enough. Well, no,
no,
because
because the Tuskens
they'd
knocked
be
out
on
the
that
rail.
radar. Yeah, that's true. They did. Maybe they did. That'd be an interesting thread. I
I
like
really,
that.
I really hope that they do that because I think that that would help tie everything together. It's just
Mhm.
weird to me that they had all those flashbacks. 2 weeks they do nothing, and then we have one last episode, and we're expected to just be like, "All right, we got to take down the Pikes." Like, I don't really care if the Pikes get taken down because yeah, they're running spice, but who's to say that's a bad thing? They're just trying to sell a little pot, make a little extra pocket change.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
What's
It
the big
doesn't.
deal?
Your moral compass is off. Your moral compass is off. Yeah, I don't know. This show, these last two episodes have really felt like a. I've loved them. I have absolutely loved them. They've been my favorite two of the series. But they've been such a strange offshoot distraction from the main point of the show that I feel like it's. I feel honestly, it's what you said. It should have been Mando season three. Like
Yeah.
this all this stuff probably should have been in Mando season three. Um, I don't know. I hate to judge it now, but right before its finale, but like it seems really unorganized to me.
It feels like when they were writing the show, they sort of realized, wow, we don't really have a whole lot of story to tell with Boba Fett. Let's just bring a bunch of people back and just
Uh
make
huh.
these last few episodes fun as we can. And I don't like that they deviated as much as they did, but I also enjoyed the hell out of these episodes. So I don't know really
Yeah,
how to
it's
feel
it's a
about this.
weird. Yeah, it's a weird feeling, right?
It's a very weird feeling. I think that ultimately, when the episode ends next week, I'm hoping that they do a really good job of tying the whole thing together. I think that what you said, I don't think that we need another season of Boba Fett. I don't know if there's much more story to tell with him for a full season. We'll see him pop up here and there, I'm sure, in Mando and other properties. But I think that they should finish this, wrap it up, and then just only focus on Mando and other different Star Wars projects that they actually have a story to tell with.
What would be really interesting is if they don't do a season two of the Book of Boba Fett right away, and they go back into Mando, they do Ahsoka, they do Kenobi, they do some other shows, and then they advance Boba Fett's plot line throughout those shows somehow. I don't really know how. Maybe he'll help Mando with something and then he'll find something. I don't know. But maybe they'll advance his plot line enough so that they can bring back Book of Boba Fett season two, and it will be about like it'll have such a disconnect from season one. It'll just be about something completely different, a whole new book, a sequel to the Book of Boba Fett. You know what I mean?
I could see that. I don't really want it though. I don't know. I guess my fear now that you said that is that we're gonna get to Mando season three and there's gonna be a random Boba Fett episode in the middle of it, and that's gonna be like, God dang
You
it!
don't think you'd like that?
I don't because I don't care about Boba Fett. I really don't. I
Oh,
think
you're talking about an episode with Boba Fett without Mando.
yes, yeah. Well, basically
Okay,
last week, but with Boba.
that yeah, no, 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 that's not cool.
I would
You
not
can't
want
take
that.
Mando out of Mando.
No, yeah. You could take Boba out of Boba Fett, but don't take Mando out of
Sure. No.
Mando. Yeah, I think that I hate to keep knocking on Boba, but I don't really care about the character that much. When we have seen him in action scenes, it's been blocky, it's been
He's
awkward.
flat. He's
He's
a really
old.
flat character. He's
Yes,
old.
he is. He is. Well, I'm sorry, but he's an old guy. He doesn't move very well. It is what it is, man. It happens, man. I think,
I
and
just
it,
didn't expect you to say it.
and let's be honest, he's in a helmet. You could have easily had a younger person go out there and do his scenes, and then he takes the helmet off, and like it, which I'm sure we'll probably see next week. But I
Yeah,
digress.
I'm gonna give you a little bit of a hot take with Boba. If you're gonna shit on him, I'm gonna shit on him too. If I think that it's weird that the what I don't know the actor's name, and you've said it 100 times.
Tamara Morrison.
Tamara Morrison is a large person. He's a big dude, and
Eh,
this armor doesn't fit. It doesn't. His chest plate is like if he took his robe off and put his chest plate on, you'd see both of his nipples. It doesn't fit.
I never got that. I was not paying attention to that part.
He's a big dude.
He's
The actor who played Boba Fett in Empire, he was a smaller guy.
Yeah, that's fair. He was definitely much smaller in Empire and Return of the Jedi. So you know, they brought Tamara Morrison in to be Jango Fett and the clones, and then yeah, they kind of had to stick with him for future things. It is what it is. Again, you could have very easily got someone else to be under the helmet and just did some camera stuff, some Hollywood stuff to make it look all right. It is what it is at this point. I just hope that next week is as good as these last 2 weeks. And I kind of hope that they just wrap up Boba's stuff. Hope we could see him later on at other things, but he doesn't need his own show anymore.
Man, I'm going to be sad when we're not talking about Star Wars every week, man. I'm going to need you to console me. Streamcatcher's about to be a little sad.
We're going to have 6 weeks of nothing to talk about. So,
no, we always find something.
we have a few things cooking for sure, but it will feel like a long time between next week and Moon Knight, I will say. But we got Kenobi will be this summer, I think. Andor, I think, is still slated to come out. We got some more Star Wars on deck. And you never know, buddy. Bad Batch is coming back this year.
And we'll do our damn duty.
We'll see. All right, man. Do you have any final thoughts or any other thing you want to talk about?
I had written down the School of Skywalker, but I don't really know what to say about it. I think it was interesting seeing these weird ant droids building a thing that was cool. But as far as it being a talking point, I'm not sure if I have anything to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that they did it. You know, we saw the finished product in The Last Jedi and through flashbacks of Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
We know that Kylo's going to mess that place up at some point in the next 20 years or so. Yeah, it kind of just is what it is. I don't think Grogu sticks around to be the first student. I would like to, now that they have established it, and now that they have sort of figured out the technology, having Luke mentor a young Ben Solo and other Jedi would be a lot of fun in the show. That would be a fun show.
Sick.
And have it end with Kylo killing the whole place. And yeah, that'd be pretty nuts.
That would be really cool. Man, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
What if, we don't really know Ben / Kylo Ren's timeline. Like, we don't know how old he was. We don't know how long he trained as a Jedi with Luke before he turned to the dark side. Like, it would be cool to answer some of those questions with a show.
I agree. Because, I mean, when you look at the flashback scenes, it looked like he was, 15, 16, if not maybe slightly older. But yeah, you never know. I mean, maybe he was a bit younger than that and had some other issues. I mean, all we know is that he was fascinated with the dark side and that they were able to sway him. So yeah, I would like to see more of that. That'd be a lot of fun. And I'd be more interested in that than Boba Fett or Andor, I'll say.
I know, man. Well, that's all I've got for my notes. How you feeling?
I feel pretty good, man. Well, this was a great episode. I hate to harp on negatives, but we gotta keep a fair critique of things. So
we gotta talk about all of it. We gotta talk about the good and the bad.
Hey, yes, sir. Well, folks, thank you guys all for tuning in. We always appreciate you joining us. If you want to follow along with us on social media, the links are in the show notes below. If you want to support the podcast, the best way to do that is to tell your friends and share some links. If you're on the YouTube, make sure to leave a comment, a like, subscribe, hit the bell for more content. And until next time, folks, keep on keeping on.
Yes, we love you so much. We'll catch you later.